Hi everybody, skuldsbane here, also known as Crystal. All over the internet though, I am known as skuldsbane, all sorts of social media, on Instagram, on Twitch, even though I haven't streamed in a long time because life has gotten in the way. Welcome to my little YouTube channel. I've been focusing on Flosstube, so cross-stitch lately, although there have been some other crafts thrown in and a couple of other things. Welcome in. Like I said, I will let you know that today I don't really have a whole lot of stitching. Uh, about 2 weeks ago, yeah, right after, like literally right after I recorded my last floss tube, I had an appointment with the person who prescribes my brain medications because I do have severe ADHD, and we decided to cut back my medication. It has not been working well. I don't know what that thump was. Um, but it has not been working well, so I've had a lot of issues with focus, and I have worked on literally 4 projects in the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to apologize right now for not having a whole lot of stitching to show you, but I do have a couple of other little things relating to other stuff that I've done. It's going to be real short. Also, I do have a couple of life updates. It's going to be at the end of the video. I promise that it's not going to be like last week where half of the video was life updates. This is also going to be short. So, with that said, let's get rolling. The first thing that I worked on these past 2 weeks is Baba Yaga's hut. I'm going to pop the photo up here. I apologize now. This is like, I remembered today was recording day like 5 minutes before I recorded the first time. This is my third time recording. It's been an adventure. But here she is. I did not iron anything, hence the apology. This is Baba Yaga's hut. It is charted by Raven Coven on Etsy. This is done 2/1 full stitch, full cross, with all the call forward colors, and I believe this is an 18 count. I do not remember because I'm bad at these things. Also because I had not started recording everything that I was working on yet. I don't have a start date. Although this is close to, I'm sorry about the camera, close to 80% finished, and I'm hoping to have it done by Halloween. It's a heckin' stretch, but I'm gonna try. Um, I do also have on the way a book that I will be using as a planner to start tracking my projects. And the first one going in, I'm going to actually talk about a little bit later on in the video. Um, all right, so that was the first one. The next you have seen quite a bit recently. It is the Pavane for Our Times by Long Dog Samplers. And again, I don't remember when I started this just because I haven't been tracking it, and I apologize. But I have gotten quite a bit done on it over the last 2 weeks. This is being done on, gotta find my notes, 38 count eiderdown legacy linen, and it's being stitched 1/2 using a Coates and Clark um, quilting thread. That's it. I have gone, that is about half the height. It's the center start. So down at the very bottom is the center, and the top, excuse me, is a scrunch fabric. Top up here is about 5 stitches off from the very top. I have put in all of this jar and these flowers and up and around because I did want to get an idea of how well it was going to fit on the fabric. The outer border is just like 2 stitches all the way around, and I want to do that at the very end so that I don't have any strange cutoffs in the variegation and the thread. I love this one. So far, this is one of my favorites, and I am not normally a huge sampler stitcher, but this one has been just amazing to me. I don't know. My brain can focus on it even with the lower medications. It's weird. The third thing that I worked on is the Great White Christmas. This is by Boomerang Stitches, and it is part of a stitch along. It is the Santa Jaws stitch along, I think. Yes, Santa Jaws stitch along. Hashtag Santa Jaws SAL. This is being done on a 40 count Newcastle linen by Forbidden Fiber Co. with Gentle Art Roasted Marshmallow. It's being done 1/2. And I have decided that I am not likely to ever stitch on 40 count again. Let me fold this a little bit to show you where I worked. But this has just not been a pleasant experience for me. But I did last time we had a little bit of the boat. You couldn't even tell it was a boat. So all of this up in here and across. And you can see the shark's eyeball right there. Also, I apologize for my nails. Like I said, about 5 minutes before I started filming, I was like, oh no, today is a filming day. Didn't have time to repaint them. But that's where she is. From where that dark spot is in the center of the jaw to the edge of the white stitching is half the width. And that dark spot, I do know what it is. It will wash out. I just haven't done it yet because I haven't done it yet. I have no excuse. None. It just hasn't happened. The last thing that I worked on, I have to blame my friend Laura for being an amazing person. I blame you for being amazing, Laura, and I blame you for having a sense of humor about everything, and I appreciate that at the same time. Laura from Stitching by the Shore had been inspired by um, or as I like to say, has been enabled by myself and another stitcher who were doing Lena Ova samplers. The one that I had been working on was Mary Poppins. Did not work on that this week. Excuse me. Or this past 2 weeks. I apologize. But Laura got interested in them and started looking at the shop and bought a couple of the patterns and decided that, it might be kind of fun to do a stitch along. And because I had my eye on the Dracula pattern, I was like, yes, let's do this. Let's do this. Set a date. Let's get a hashtag. Let's go. And so we've been going back and forth, and I called her out on my last video in a very joking manner, and she did take it as a joke, which is, again, amazing, and thank you for having a sense of humor. And she's like, all right, it's gonna start on World Cross Stitch Day, which is today. It is the 9th of August. And the hashtag is going to be hashtag Lena Ova Sal, which all the hashtags and everything are going to be below. Um, and the Crow Stitcher actually was inspired by this as well and also started the Dracula. I stayed up until after midnight to get a good start on this, or to get a start at all on this. I did show last time what the floss and the fabric were that I'd gotten for this. Um, the floss is Night Stalker's Calling Hocus Pocus, and the fabric is the Olympia Opal Lugana by Mystic Fabrics. This is the first time I've stitched on Lugana at all. This is the first time I've gotten anything from Mystic Fabrics. This is the first time I've been stitching on an opal fabric. So far, it has been absolutely amazing. I actually love the way it feels because I do stitch in hand. As I said, I started the Dracula pattern. Crow Stitcher is also doing this, but they are doing it in a very different style. Theirs is all 310 on, oh come on, focus on the stitching. Focus. It's not going to focus. Why is my camera being a digital camera? I don't know. But theirs is all 310 on a kind of pinkish red fabric that they dyed specifically for the project. But this, I am loving the sparkle. I got this color work, or this colorway, because it kind of reminds me of fog. And since a lot of the story takes place in London and there's fog, huh? Ah, you get it? And then with the red and black, because everything in Dracula is red and black. It's Dracula. It's one of the first things you think of is red and black. So that's what I got started there. The borders on the Lena Ova patterns are honkin' huge. I love them. They are beautiful, but they are huge. This is not the full width of the pattern, like the full height of the pattern. It would go down to probably about there, if not further. Like they're chunkin' huge. I did some estimations on the Mary Poppins that I'm working on, and the pattern itself, the way that the border is on Mary Poppins, it adds about 5 inches to the height and about 5 inches to the width. It's not small. Very cool though. Very cool. All right. That's the stitching that I did. As far as haul and shopping, I haven't gone down to the mailbox yet, but I should have a bunch of stuff being delivered today, literally today. I just haven't, they haven't arrived yet. I haven't gotten notification that everything has gotten here, so I don't have anything really to show you except for this little guy, which I'll talk about here in a minute. I was able to get on a Facebook stash busting one of those groups, and that has not been kind to my paycheck, but has been exceptionally kind to me. I do want to say, Share Bear Stitching, Share Bear Stitcher, Sherry. One of the things that I did pick up is going to be absolutely necessary because I did pick on you a little bit for saying, continuing to say that the pattern is just a guideline, right? And I am going to try my hand at creating a chart, creating a pattern that's titled The Chart is Just a Guideline. And I've got a couple of books from the D Stash that are on the way that are going to help with that. Now, this is not going to be a standard pattern, obviously, just because it is a suggestion. And the way that I've got it in my head, because, I'm obviously a big tabletop. I have dice, I have books, there's going to be dice involved. It's just going to be one six-sided die like you can find in a Monopoly game, in like Yahtzee, just a regular six-sided die, okay? So, for anybody who might be interested in trying it, once it's complete, I'll let you know when it's completed, and you will need either a six-sided die or an online dice roller, which you just type in a search for online dice roller and they're everywhere. Um, but I do have some books coming in to be able to help with that. Also, I watched your video, so that's on to people I've been watching. Share Bear Stitcher is obviously one of them. So is Stitching by the Shore, who is also hosting, Laura is also hosting an ATC trade for cross stitchers for Flosstube. And that was just announced, was it yesterday or the day before? I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Go watch the video if you're interested. I've taken part in them before. Amazing. Let's see, who else? Crafty Stitches. The Artsy Housewife, which, by the way, I love that you and your husband are doing the videos together and you've gotten him into the craft. That's just golden. A plus. Um, the Hugo Stitcher, who has the Autumn is as Joyful sale coming up. Getting ready to participate in that. I've got it all kitted up, ready to roll. The New England Stitcher. You know what? I love you to death. I do. But I'm going to stop saying thank you so much because we've just been going back and forth and shouting each other out. Still going to continue to let people know that I've been watching you. But it's just kind of funny how we've been going back and forth, and somebody's got to be the one to break that. We've got the Crow Stitcher. I found your Flosstube, and holy cannoli, the works that you're doing. Bruh. Also, I am so very sorry that you've been having a hard time of it lately. I fully understand. It comes, it goes, highs and lows, roller coasters, and you'll be coming back up again soon. It'll happen. I have faith in you. Brenda and the Cereal Starter. As always, lovely and obnoxious in the best sort of way. I strive to be that type of obnoxious. Doesn't always work. The Stitching Owl, thank you again. Um, Also, I don't know if I just did not take note because I tend to stitch while I'm watching Flosstube, but do you mind putting in the comments below where you got that stained glass owl pattern? And I don't necessarily want to do the owl, but I want to look and see what they have. Plotty fingers, plotty fingers, plotty fingers. Um, Peace Pineapple Studio came out with her second floss tube and also a secondary video because she has started knitting and there's quilting stuff and there's other stuff. Have not watched that second video, just watched the floss tube. But yes, yes. Um, Helen D, as always. And last, Professor Stitch has her first Flosstube video up. She is a history professor out of Texas, and she and I have gone back and forth a little bit in the comments of her video. So if you're interested in opinions on history from a history professor and a person with a history degree who is working very hard to move towards a profession where that degree will be used, there's that. And that's who I have been watching. I've been going through. I did say that I was going to tell you about this little guy. So this is kind of moving into the other craft things because it does lead directly into some of the other projects that I have been and will be working on. So if all you're here for is the cross stitch, thank you so very much for coming in and spending time with me. I appreciate when you take time out of your day to come say hello. Absolutely say hello in the comments too, by the way. I will answer back as long as my brain can focus long enough to be able to do so. But I do love hearing comments from all of you. Any recommendations for things to stitch or ways to improve the stitching or dear God, please clean up the shelves in the background, which is on the list of things to do. Uh, anything. I'm here for it. Um, Also, if you would, I'm trying my best to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I would be completely over the moon if we got there by Halloween because it's my favorite holiday and it would just be amazing to celebrate Halloween by doing like an extra video or something. I don't know. For 500 subscribers, I'll figure something out. I'll figure something out by the time we get there. So if you would please comment, like, subscribe, tell other people about the channel that you think might enjoy it. Anything that'll help the algorithm push me a little bit further so that I can get a few more views. Again, I'm just trying to grow a little bit. That would be amazing. And thank you again. All right. All right. All right. This little guy. I don't know if any of you watched the short that I posted, uh, but I went 2 weeks ago after I did the last video, and I went to the post office, and I went to an antique mall that's in next to the post office in Oviedo, Florida. This antique mall is, over 1,000 square feet, and a bunch of vendors are in there. It's called the Coop, and I promised the ladies in there and the gentleman that was there that I would mention them, and I will have a link to their website below. There's not a whole lot of information on the website because everything cycles through so quickly. But I spent probably 3.5 hours in there just looking around, going, I need to take a picture of that for the people on my Discord. I need to share that with this friend. I need to share. Ooh, I want to buy that. And having to tell myself no more than yes. Um, I did buy a couple of things that very much remind me of my childhood. I'm actually going to pause a moment here to walk across the room and grab something. So that thing is going to slide across, and I will be back here in just a moment. And we're back. Again, it was going to be just a moment. But I did find this, and this was in a glass case, and I was lucky to see it. And one of the ladies that was there, she happened to be restocking stuff and moving things around, and I was like, and I got her. I was like, "Is that what I think it is?" Let's see if it'll focus. It doesn't want to focus on it. Of course not. Come on. But I asked her, "Is that what I think it is? Is that a thimble case?" And she said, "Yeah. I've been doing antiques for more than 30 years. This is the first time I've ever seen one, but I knew I had to get it. I knew I had to put it in here because somebody was going to know what it is and somebody would pick it up." And she got it out of the glass case for me, and she said, "The thimble is still in there too." I said, "Really?" And we opened it up and I stuck my finger in there, and the thimble is the right size for my finger. So it's the correct size. So now I have an antique silver thimble that's sitting by my bed because I do stitching in bed. And I have this one that's sitting here at my computer desk because this is the other place I do stitching. And I picked this up, and it's brass. It the thimble turns my finger green. I'm sure you can kind of see the ghost of the ring around there. Yeah, I've been using it. Um, so I picked that up, and I was just mind blown that I found one. I've been looking for one of these for like 5 years. Um, the thing that I went to go pick up has nothing to do with crafts, but I want to show you anyway because I had this album as a child when I had my record player. When I got my first record player that I put in my room, I was able to put in my room. This was one of the first records that my dad bought me, and I found I found this in the coop, and I was like, nah, no, this has to come home with me. This is my childhood. So I brought my childhood home. I got the other half, the man thing. I got him a letter opener that's a rapier shaped because he does rapier, not foil fencing like they do in the Olympics, but actual like stiff rapiers. Um, and I got myself a hat pin holder because I do wear historical hats or reproductions of historical hats that do require hat pins. And also, I was so thrilled to find what I'm going to show you next. I took these up to the front and I asked the ladies, "Do you know what these are?" Because they were labeled as bras. They're not bras, and they were gross. They have had multiple washings since I brought them home. But these are yokes for corset covers. And because I do historical clothing, especially for the late Victorian, early Edwardian period, so very late 1800s from about 1896 to about 1906-ish, literally like that time period. Uh, these are going to be put to good use. They are crocheted, which means they had to be done by hand. You cannot use a machine to crochet. And they are just beautiful. So one of my projects over the next about probably month or so is this one is going to be a corset cover for sure. And this one, because it's got a hair on it, because it has the sleeve caps, I don't really like sleeve caps on my corset covers. I've been thinking of making a nightgown because why wouldn't I have a nightgown? A pretty nightgown. But I picked both of these up as well. And there are a couple things that just, if we had the room for them and the spare cash, I would have gotten them. There's a Hoosier cabinet that I want to bring home, but we live, I say we because the other half is here most of the time, but um, I live in an apartment. I literally have no place to put it. Um, which actually leads directly into life stuff. So, segue. Life stuff. We are still looking towards buying a house. It's going to be a long haul to get there. The GoFundMe is still happening. Zero pressure. It's just being mentioned. Um, I actually spent yesterday working right here because my workstation is like 2 feet that way. I just scoot my chair over. And they were doing construction on the walls around the windows and stuff, framing in the windows or reframing the windows because oh, it's been a hot mess. But I spent the entire workday working in a call center from home with construction, 3 feet from my head. It was an interesting day. I made it through. I am currently working towards, I actually have a meeting with somebody in HR on, I think it's Tuesday, next week. Anyway, I've got a meeting next week, and I'm going to be speaking with somebody on what I need to do to be able to move into something a little bit more that fits better with my personal talents. I'm good with customer service. I'm okay with the tech support that I'm currently doing. But with all this happening, being able to move away from the phones and more towards even email based is going to be a phenomenal improvement because I have no idea how long this is going to be happening. I talked to somebody who had everything completed and they said it was easily 6 months. And that's all I'm saying about that. Okay. I'm not going to follow that rabbit hole. There are things moving forward in the place that I'm currently working at. There is going to be an opportunity opening up here within the next couple of months at the museum that I volunteer at. If the compensation fits what I'm already making and we'll be able to budget it, I'm going to put in for that as well because that would just be a mind-blowing opportunity for me. It fits exactly what I want to do. Um, the man thing, I don't know if everybody where he works is aware of this, but he is waiting for the receipt of an offer letter to see if another place is going to be a better opportunity. He has already filled out the paperwork for the background check and everything else, and if this happens, it's going to be life-changing. So, fingers crossed there. What else is going on? that's the entirety of life stuff, basically. There's been a lot of work. There's been construction on the apartment. There's been a lot of, oh, Debbie passed us by. I didn't work for like a day and a half because of the storms and the power coming and going and everything else. But Debbie passed us by. We're fine. We're fine. My plants got watered. I don't have to worry about watering them for a while. Um, all of my carnivorous plants are doing great. They really enjoyed it. I need to go feed them today. That's the thing I need to do. And I think I'm going to spend the afternoon trying to make macarons for the first time. Even if it doesn't turn out well, you know what? I'm going to have fun doing it. And that's kind of my life right now. So, there's just not a lot. And a lot of it is actually pretty amazing right now. We've got an upward trend. I like this. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for hanging out with me and coming to visit. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope your today is better than yesterday and your tomorrow will be better than today. Bye.